Noi vogliamo Dio che ci protegga, che Lui ci guidi su buon sentiero.
In the first quarter of the 20th century, vast numbers of Italians left Europe in search of a new life in the United States. Destinations were often chosen for the good reason that a father or older brother had already immigrated, and family members were following in their footsteps. Many Italian immigrants traveled west and settled in San Francisco and other western cities. Most could not speak English, and they experienced disorientation, prejudice, and hard economic realities. In spite of hard-earned achievements, many despaired as they missed their homeland and an essential spirit they had always felt as Italians and as Catholics. Church attendance and Catholic observances slowly declined among the immigrants, as did their pride in being Italian. Many simply stopped going to church or educating their children in the traditions and faith of their fatherland. Something happened, however, that began to change that, in the form of the Italian Catholic Federation, a lay apostolate organization for people of Italian origin, founded by two remarkable men, Reverend Albert Bandini and Luigi Providenza. This brief film is about Luigi Providenza, his vision, his determination, and his leadership.
Luigi wanted the ICF to be the most it could be. The ICF to him was a vehicle which he started to bring Italians closer to the church and to work with the church. And Luigi was very good at that. He knew how to influence people, he knew how to enthuse people, and he did that by forming the ICF with the help of Father Bandini, who probably did the legal work that was required. So, as far as I know, Luigi's vision was to see the ICF grow and to influence as many Italian Catholics as it could.
Well, his vision was very strong for the ICF, and his main thing was that he wanted to get the Italian people that weren't going to church anymore to join the Federation and be with amongst Italians and have their Catholic faith. And I think he worked very hard on it, and he did a good job, because we're still, after 80 years, we're still an organization, and I think if everybody works as hard as he did, we'll still continue on having an organization as strong as we have.
He believed so much in what the Federation could do in helping the immigrants that were coming over here from Italy to get back to the church. That was his number one goal. He and Father Bandini would make sure that whenever they went to visit someone, they got him to come to the next Sunday Mass and get back into their religious aspects that they left in the old country.
Luigi gave an opportunity to the Italians. You know, let's take Como, where I was born, the farms. Churches, there was probably one church, there was a mission. I meant that maybe a priest came there every so often on a schedule, almost like a circuit rider in the legal sense. And so the chances of those Italians going back to the church were very remote, and he created that vehicle because the Italians came over to this country from Italy. My father came over here, but my mother was still in Italy. So he was here all alone. So he gave a vehicle, an opportunity for them to get back to the church.
And he was a quiet man, but he got things done. You know.
When I first met him, he seemed to be a very forceful man, and he believed in what he taught. He'd visit us here. Like Larry said, he covered that subject very well. You couldn't say no to the man. And he was you know, he was forceful, but he was kind at the same time. And I think he had a lot to do, like Larry said, bringing a lot of the Italians back to the church when they strayed away from it.
You didn't have to worry that with Luigi you'd be taken advantage of, or get into some area where you'd have a problem. Not so. You'd end up working and spending a lot of time listening to him talk, okay? Because he loved to talk. But he was trying to get a message to you. In other words, if he wanted to take you to London, he would take you around by Lisbon and by Africa and whatnot. He'd end up in London. I mean, he'd walk you around until he saw that you were ready to say yes. That was Luigi.
He was at a meeting someplace almost every day of the week during his prime time, helping organize different branches, working with the different priests in the areas, and especially when we had the missionary group of people from Italy. I think it was the Scalabrini priests mainly, who came over and were on the payroll of the Federation. They would visit all over the areas, California, Nevada, Chicago, because many of the branches in Chicago were formed by the Scalabrinis, who came over from Italy at Luigi's request. And they were put on the payroll of the Federation, and they really helped the Federation grow. And he felt so strongly on what the Federation meant to the Italian immigrants that he just dedicated his whole life to it and just did a tremendous job.
What about you, Danny? What do you think?
Well, I use the word persistent. I know that Luigi would come to our district and he knew how to contact the right women to get things moving when things were slow. He contacted Albina Cosco, you remember her, and a few others to get things moving, and he just knew when to do it.
Luigi was able to influence people more than anyone I've ever met. He would talk to you, and he would talk to you in a very friendly way, in a very easygoing way, but he always had a purpose in mind, and the purpose was a good one. Ultimately, his purpose was to further the aims of the ICF, which he'd formed, which he started.
We had the convention in Oakland. He used to he'd invite the bishop, the mayor, the chief of police, the newspaper reporters or whatnot, and invite them for a prime room dinner before the convention. He says, you know, you get to know all these people, and when you want something, you can go and ask them and they'll do it for you.
At the conventions, he was always, everything had to be just so. Of course, even prior to the time that I was active in Central Council, I used to go to all conventions. We always had a procession the Sunday of the convention. And it was actually, they called it a parade, but it was a procession of all the branches carrying their banners or their statues or their saints. And as you went, walking down the street, you said the rosary. The whole congregation walking would say the rosary. It had some of the priests lead it, and then people followed in. And Luigi insisted that we do that.
With his vision, determination, and leadership, Luigi Providenza changed the lives of Italian Catholics, bringing them closer to God and their heritage.
Un buon sentier, se nella lotta e ci sorregga, sarà del male vinto poiché sorge de queste squadre il grido della fe. Noi vogliamo Dio che è nostro Padre, noi vogliamo Dio che è nostro Re, noi vogliamo Dio che è nostro Padre, noi vogliamo